Hello, Seeker. Welcome to Revival of Symbolism, a channel devoted to the language of esoteric symbolism, guiding you to discover yourself and expand your consciousness into deeper realms of thought. I'm Harry B. Joseph, also known as Revival of Wisdom, and today we're going to be discussing the symbol of an eye inside of a triangle. So the first thing we need to understand about symbolism is that symbolism is a subconscious language. We don't just look at these symbols and get a basic understanding. Like a word, for example, if I wrote the word hello here, you look at this and you have an instant understanding of this word in your mind. It has no deeper meaning or veil, what we like to call it. There's no deeper meaning of this beyond a veil. It's simply just a very logical thing to do and understand. But symbolism, on the other hand, goes deep within the subconscious mind. It forces the individual to go inward on themselves. This is why symbolism is so powerful. It makes you turn inward. When you look at this eye in a triangle, you're not just looking at a word, you're looking at a picture. And this forces you to go inward so you can start to try and figure out what this symbol means. You start to think critically. You also start to follow the chains of thought. This is very important inside the occult. Symbols have many layers and veils of meaning. They don't just have one layer or meaning. On the surface level, it has a surface level understanding. But then as you follow the deeper chains of thought, you start to unveil and unravel its deeper meaning. As you awaken in your journey, the deeper levels of consciousness you access, the higher levels of understanding you access, the deeper meanings of these symbols start to reveal themselves. So studying yourself and studying symbolism go hand in hand. So when you're studying symbolism, you're actually studying consciousness. This is what we need to understand, is that these symbols represent forces of consciousness and aspects of consciousness. So what we need to do is to follow the chain of thoughts. Now, what do I mean by the chain of thoughts? If I think of a triangle, it instantly in my mind, I get the number 3. Then if that number 3 leads to another thought, for example, father, mother, child, father, mother, and child. Father, mother, and child then leads to another thought, then another thought, then another thought. So this is the chain of thought that we have to follow. This is why symbols must be meditated upon. We meditate upon symbols to unravel the deeper meanings of these, so we can unlock deeper levels of awareness. Okay, so we're diving straight into the subconscious mind with the language of symbolism. It's why it's so powerful, because it forces the individual to go inward and actually use their mind. Symbols train you to think critically. They train you to think in a subconscious way, unlike words. So these symbols represent thought vibrations or thought forms within the individual's mind. So let's jump straight into this symbol of the eye in the triangle, and let's go, very surface level, and then towards the end, we'll go deeper into the deeper mysteries of this symbol. On this channel, I don't give spiritual fluff. I give very deep esoteric teachings. Okay, so it would be amazing if you could show some support. Simply just leave a like, comment, and a share on the video. Share this video to a friend. So, first of all, let's look at the number 3, because this triangle symbolizes the number 3, okay? 3. We have a father, we have a mother, and together they unify to create a child. So that's a triangle. So what does this actually represent? Father, mother, child. In order for creation, it takes 3 steps. We are born, we grow, we die. So this is how creation unfolds in a 3-step process. In order for you to have a child, you must have 2 people and then give birth to another, number 3. Then when you are given birth, you give birth, you grow, you die, then you return back to your original state. So the number 3 symbolizes this transformation or creation itself, how creation is a 3-fold. We see this in Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Brahma, the creator, you have the creator god, the preserver god, and the destroyer god. This is symbolizing the number 3. And inside the Christian tradition, we have Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. We're going to dive deep into that as well. But it simply just represents the 3-fold of creation, how creation is a 3-fold process. Okay? So let's go a little bit deeper now. That's more exoteric. That's an external teaching. I've just taught you something that's very external. But what does this represent to the internal, to the esoteric? The number 3 is the 3 forces of the soul. The 3 forces of the soul. The soul thinks. It thinks. We have a mental field. We have a mind. All around us is a field of mind. We don't just have a mind. All around you is a field of thought and a field of mind. Okay, this is what we have to understand. A lot of people just think they have a mind. Your mind is attuned to the mental plane, and the mental plane is surrounding you. There are thought forms surrounding you. There are ideas. There are, all of these things in the mind that exist in an infinite field made of mental matter. Mental matter. So the soul thinks. The soul feels. It has feeling. We have emotion, and the soul takes actions. So the soul has 3 ways it expresses itself. Consciousness expresses itself through mentalism, through emotionalism, and through actions. This is how the soul is creating, through 3 different dimensions. Before you take a physical action, you don't just take the action. You first think, you feel, then you act. You only take action on what you feel, what you have a love towards, what you have a care towards. This is what the Freemasons call the generative principle. It's about this is what generates your reality, your feeling, because you can think infinite thoughts, but if you don't care about them, you don't take action on them. As soon as you have a care about a specific character of thought, your body then takes an action. Okay, so this is representing the 3 expressions of the soul. Now, the number 3 is actually the number 1, because this is all one line. Remember, this is all interconnected. And here we have the number 1 in the middle, one eye. We'll go deeper into that. So the number 1 is symbolized by the eye because there's one eye. So pretty much what this symbol is the number 1 and the number 1, 2, and 3. So it's 1 and 3. The 1 is expressed in 3 ways, which is the soul expressing itself and creating reality through 3 ways: thought, emotion, actions. Okay? These are all actually one force. These are all one force. When we think, we feel, we act. When we act, this gives birth to a new thought and feeling. They're all one. They're all interconnected. So if I take an action, that can lead to a different thought. Or if I think, if I start to feel something, I don't know, hate, that then gives birth to a different thought or a different action. So you can see how each body of consciousness is actually affecting each of them. If we have an unhealthy mind, this will affect having an unhealthy emotional state and an unhealthy body. Because what we think, the mind holds power over the body. Every single thought commands 50 trillion cells in your body. Think of that for a second. You are governing 50 trillion cells, and these cells religiously obey every single command you give. You are governing a whole universe. 50 trillion living conscious cells. Okay? Think of that for a second. 50 trillion cells, and you are commanding them, and they religiously obey you. This is what we mean by you are a microcosm of God. Your body is literally a whole universe. There is living beings in your body that you are commanding and controlling, and they religiously obey you. Very, very powerful. This is how powerful you are. So each thought you command to the body is either destroying the life of the body or uplifting the life of the body, good and evil. So you're either creating more life or destroying your life of the body, of the health, of the body, of the cells. It's a whole civilization inside of your body, and you're governing it. You're the government. You are the master. This is why in the occult they say you are the master. Everyone is a master of their own being, their own microcosmic universe that they govern. You govern a whole reality. Don't forget that. But we've lost this knowingness and understanding, and we're now giving our power to the external government, man-made government. Okay, so that's what the word government means: government, governed mind control. But you are the government. You control your own being. You control your own universe. You control your reality. So you are the creator of your reality. This is the context behind the symbol here. You are the creator. What is an eye? An eye sees things. What does that symbolize? So an eye on a basic level shows looking at something. But this is referring to the internal eye, the internal observer. You're observing something when you look at something. So the inside eye is the person, the self that is looking over and experiencing our thoughts, emotions, and actions. Who is the one that feels the actions? Who is the one who suffers from the negative thoughts and the negative emotions? Have you ever thought about that? Go deep within yourself. Who is the one suffering from your emotions? It's not your body. It's not your mind. It's this soul. It's the soul observing through these different bodies of consciousness, through the mind, through the emotions, and through the body. This is the observer behind it all. So, this eye is not closed. It's not closed. Very, very important. Every detail in symbolism is very important. It's not closed. It's open. It's looking, and it's conscious. I'm just giving you the key of what the symbol means. It's about remaining conscious. Now, this will go over people's head. They may not even understand this. Most people are unconscious, and it's fine if you are unconscious. We're all on a different level of our journey. We're all on a different level. I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just stating these facts. Most people are unconscious. They only think, feel, and act out of, reaction. They're not even aware they exist because they're so caught up in the external world. They have no idea they exist. They've never deeped how they exist, why they exist, what life is, what this piece of technology they're inside of is. So I'm giving you a bit of an insight of a person with a higher consciousness. A person with a higher consciousness is always looking. This is what the symbol means. Always looking, not with the eyes, but with the internal self, because they understand these three powers, the triangle, is creating their reality. Thought, emotion, action. Person with a higher consciousness who knows mastered themselves is someone who is always looking and observing their thoughts and emotions and the actions they take in the world. I'll give you a bit of a key here. I'll give you a key. In my life, I like to govern myself, be my own master through this way. Every action or decision I am about to make, every decision, I always say to myself internally, I remind myself of this symbol. This is what symbols are. You're meant to remember these things. There are tools to help you in life and gain control of yourself so you can ultimately live a better life and create your own reality. I remind myself, if I take this action, what is the effect that's going to come from this action? Is this action going to benefit me, or is it going to pull me away of what I'm supposed to do? And through that, I live through this law of law of cause and effect. Very, very, we cannot escape that law. You have to deeply understand this. You cannot escape the laws of cause and effect. They are always infinitely creating your reality. Cause and effect. Every thought is producing an effect. Every emotion is producing an effect. Every action is producing an effect. Therefore, you must keep this in mind and stay looking. This is what the symbol means. It means stay conscious. Always look over your thought, emotions, and actions. Always look over them. Because if you are not looking at your thoughts, emotions, and actions, and you're living, you're thinking, you're feeling, and acting unconsciously, subconsciously, without conscious awareness, you're unknowingly creating your reality. You can reach a level of mastery. There is a level of mastery. I'm not fully there yet. I'll openly admit that. But it's a goal in mind. There is a level of mastery that one can achieve where they are conscious of every single thought, every single action, every single emotion they feel throughout their day. Very, very difficult because we think around 7,000 thoughts a day, But this is ultimately the goal of mine anyway. It's completely up to you what you do. I'm just giving you this insight that's helped me in life. So it's about being conscious. This is a very overlooked thing in today's world. No, most people are unconscious, that they're walking around as zombies. They don't even realize they think. They don't even realize they have a mind. They think their mind is their brain. If the mind was the brain, then how can the mind go in the past, present, and future? Which means it exists outside of time, but the body remains in the present moment. If the body remains in the present moment, that means it exists underneath time, underneath the law of time, but the mind transcends it, which means the mind operates outside of time, space, and matter. So, that is a key. You are a high dimensional being manifesting in a physical form, and you're looking into the world. This is also another veil of the eye. The eye symbolizes your higher dimensional being. You have no true form. This is one of the biggest secrets. You have no true form. You form what you think, feel, and act. In the astral plane, you become what you think about. You can become an owl. You can become an owl with goat heads or, T-Rex arms. You can be anything you wish. Anything you think about, that's the form you take in the astral and imagination. But beyond the very causal plane, the higher dimensions, you are formless. You are nothingness. But that formless is connected to God. That is the unmanifest. That's the source of all creation. So you are something but nothing. Very difficult to get your head around, but essentially you emerge out of darkness. Emerge out of nothingness. Okay, and that's what the mental plane is. The mental plane is kind of like the first dimension that basically expands into infinite realities. The mind can think anything. There's nothing impossible in the mind. Nothing. But there are things impossible in the physical plane, because the physical plane is more dense and it's governed by more laws. So, again, this is symbolizing staying conscious of your thought, emotions, and actions. Now, another veil, if we go deeper on this symbol now, another veil, another chain that's connected to this symbol, a chain of thought, is that this symbol represents unity consciousness. Person who thinks, feels, and acts in unity. Their soul is operating in one force. Their soul is operating in one force, which means they think, they feel, they act. For example, I'll be writing my book sometimes. The book of Symbolism, my third book, is coming out very soon. I'll leave a link in the description for you can sign up to the email, the waiting list. We've got a lot of people in there already. This next book's going to be insane. But yeah, you can get notified when that comes out. I'll put a link in the description. When I'm writing my book, I'll get an idea to, go play Call of Duty or go play the Xbox. But then I instantly remember this symbol, thought, emotion, action. Instantly, I then unify my consciousness, my three powers to create reality. These are your powers. These are your rights. These are your things that you have full control over. These are the biggest gifts in life. This is so overlooked. So overlooked because people are so unconscious. These three things are your biggest gifts. They're so beautiful. You have been given the gift of creation. You can mold a whole world, your own world. You govern it. You can think infinite thoughts, no impossibilities, no limitations. You can feel. Feeling is a life essence. Without feeling, you'd be an AI robot. And you can act. These are your three gifts. These are your three creational powers. You hold the power of creation. You hold the power to kill another life, or you hold the power to spread love in the world, to spread the light. So this is why you see the light emerging out of this eye. This is the light of the soul. That's what consciousness is. It's light. And this is creation unfolding from this through these three powers. Light emerging and crystallizing your reality through thought, emotion, and action. So again, this is unity consciousness, acting in one force, thinking, feeling, and acting, all directed towards one goal. And that's how you manifest things quickly. Speed. If your thought is, if you think about, I don't know, playing the Xbox and then you feel like eating and then you take action scrolling on TikTok, that's divided consciousness. You're wasting time, energy, and you're scattering your creative powers throughout these three forms. But once you unify them, which is the I, the number one, you unify thought, emotion, and action, you direct your thought, emotion, and action all towards one goal. You quickly create these goals. So this ties in with time and attention. These are your two spiritual currencies. You spend time and you pay attention. These are your two spiritual currencies that pretty much create your reality, your experience. Thought, emotion, action. And this is what the Holy Trinity is on the deepest level. This may trigger some people, but if you believe in religion, then maybe this account, this YouTube isn't for you. But religion is esoteric. It's esoteric. It's not meant to be taken literally. The Bible is an encrypted allegorical text talking about human consciousness. Jesus is a person and a master of consciousness that we should achieve within ourselves. We should aim to become like Jesus, not worship Jesus, because we are all God. We're all governing the microcosm. So, also, this symbol represents the movement of the spirit, the movement of the soul. The soul goes through this triangular process, and the soul always remains, returns back to its original state. The soul is given birth into physical reality. We live, and then, we grow, then we die. Then it moves in this three triad form. The soul, wakes up in the morning. It grows throughout its day. Then it dies at nighttime to return back to its original state, to its spiritual state. And everything goes through this process. Birth, growth, decay. Birth, growth, and death. And everything returns back to its original state. So, ultimately, this is what this symbol represents. Okay? If you want to go deeper on this, we have an amazing community. We have hundreds of hours of lectures, practical lectures, where you can gain mastery of yourself. The occult goes deeper than you could possibly imagine. So I hope you gained some insight from this video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And let me know any symbols you want me to break down in the comments section, and I'll hopefully get them broken down for you so you can understand them, on a deeper level, and you can understand yourself on a deeper level. So yeah, all the links in the description for everything that I mentioned, the community, and the Book of Symbolism waiting list. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself, everyone.